Hello everybody. So I wasn't sure if I could do this video today, but I'm not going to let anybody take away my voice because that's what I have. It's my right. My First Amendment right is to have a voice that's able to dissent, that's able to say things that people disagree with, and it's their right to call me different names, apparently, and claim that it's their constitutional right, which I suppose it is. However, it is harassment. It's interesting that a lot of people claim First Amendment rights with harassment, and they tell us that we cannot say the same kinds of things. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, of course, and it's a very troubling time. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because we've been sugarcoating things for far too long. We've been lost in our own illusions of grandeur. I feel as if I have been trying to warn, make it known, speak out about these things, and it's so frustrating that people don't want to even listen. They just want to block you out, even if you have, something very important to say. If you disagree with them or cause any kind of negativity or strife, perceived or otherwise, it's very difficult to get through to people. And everybody's guilty of it. I'm not pointing any fingers. This is just straight up, we have all failed each other. We allowed an egomaniac, notorious, pathological liar to become the leader of our world. And I am truly uncertain of if anybody will try to step up and correct these actions that we have allowed ourselves to perpetrate. I think the biggest downfall is the apathy, is the fact that we were expecting someone else to do the job. We were expecting someone else to save us. You cannot wait for somebody to save you. You have to be your own knight in shining armor. You have to be the one who stands up and says things, even if you get the most terrible language thrown at you. You have to be strong, and you have to stand up for what is wrong and say what is right. I've been called so many different things, but you know what? It doesn't even bother me because I know that the people saying these things are hurting deeper and deeper in their own heart than anyone could possibly hurt them. So I feel sorry for you. I really do. I feel your pain. I feel your sorrow because I too have experienced that. We are not so different. We are all just looking for acceptance and happiness and people to welcome us with a smile on their face and love in their heart. But we are sorely lacking in love. We are sorely lacking in compassion. We are sorely lacking. We want all these things, but we refuse to do any work. I think most of the hatred is caused from uneducation. The people don't know anything about the other people, and so they just assume that they're the enemy. The enemy is fear, and that has been used against us in this last election, severely so. The current incumbent, who I will not speak their name, used us against each other, pitted us against each other. Now it is difficult to go outside and wonder who may or may not try to verbally or physically assault us, especially people who are vulnerable, especially those who have been disenfranchised for many years. The system of corruption goes like this. They keep the people down, and they pit us against each other by race, class, sex, gender. And they ask us to fight one another in their name, promising the gold at the end of the tunnel. We need to stop allowing these people to bait us with mere breadcrumbs, saying that we will get the treat, the reward at the end of the line, only for them to have it yank it away from us when we finally get there. We're never going to get there. It's all a ruse. Do you think that we could ever truly become as wealthy as some of these people? They hide their money. They use fear tactics, and they lie. They lie, and they have ulterior personas. Now, do not chastise your fellow man for standing up and disputing what they believe is wrong, because you know you've done it in the past, so you have no right to point any finger. If you are for the incumbent, you've spent the last 8 years tearing down and viciously attacking the president before, Barack Obama. You didn't agree with any of his policies, and there were so many things, hate speeches against him as a person. So there is no room for blame. There's no room for hypocrisy. We all have to take responsibility, because in the end, no one else is going to clean up this mess. We have to do it. We have to buckle down, and we have to go forward with the idea that we are going to have to fight for what we want. Now, this may seem unappealing to a lot of people, but this is how we make the world that we live in. We constantly are allowing ourselves to speak up, even in fear of retribution, because if we stay silent for too long, then the power that keeps us down has much more power than we do. It can squash us. And we need to not allow a fascist type government to come in and keep us silent until we go into the gas chambers. You know, it's funny, somebody actually was trying to bait me into a fight recently, and they used that line because they knew that is a very triggering line. Thinking about our ancestors being corralled up and lined up and put into gas chambers. The sad part is that people don't realize that when they support that kind of behavior, it doesn't discriminate against them. And by that, I mean they too will be in line, because at some point they will decide that those people are no longer worth anything for them, and they will put them away as well. So always stand up against what you see is wrong, what you see mistreats other people in the name of hate. Do not be silent. Do never be silent when you see something that is wrong, morally wrong. Consult your faith, whatever that may be. You don't have to believe in tarot cards. You don't have to believe in spirituality. You can be an atheist. You can be a Christian. You can be a Muslim. You could be a Jew. You could be a Hindu. You could be a Sikh. Consult your moral compass, the inner center of your being. Let it guide you to what you believe is the right way to be. And stand up for those who are much more vulnerable than you. All right. Oh, we've got a tumultuous week, it seems. I'm not surprised. I'm going to read this passage from The Obstacle is the Way, because I think it fits for what we are all going through at the moment. Sorry about this. This thing in front of you, this issue, this obstacle, this frustrating, unfortunate, problematic, unexpected problem preventing you from doing what you want to do. That thing you dread or secretly hope will never happen. What if it wasn't so bad? What if it embedded inside it or inherited in it were certain benefits only for you? What would you do? What do you think most people would do? Probably what they've always done, and what you're doing right now, nothing. Let's be honest, most of us are paralyzed. Whatever our individual goals, most of us sit frozen before the many obstacles that lie ahead of us. We wish it weren't true, but it is. What blocks us is clear. Systemic, decaying institutions, rising unemployment, skyrocketing costs of education, and technological disruption. Individual, too short, too old, too scared, too poor, too stressed, no access, no backers, no confidence. How skilled we are at cataloging what holds us back. Every obstacle is unique to each of us, but the responses they elicit are the same. Fear, frustration, confusion, helplessness, depression, anger. You know what you want to do, but it feels like some invisible enemy has boxed you in, holding you down with pillows. You try to get somewhere, but something invariably blocks your path. Following and thwarting each move you make, you have just enough freedom to feel like you can move, just enough to feel like it's your fault when you can't seem to follow through or build momentum. We're dissatisfied with our jobs, our relationships, our place in the world. We're trying to get somewhere, but something stands in the way, so we do nothing. We blame our bosses, the economy, our politicians, other people, or we write ourselves off as failures or our goals as impossible, when really the only thing at fault is our attitude and approach. There have been countless lessons in books about achieving success, but no one has ever taught us how to overcome failure, how to think about obstacles, how to treat and triumph over them. So we are stuck, beset on all sides. Many of us are disoriented, reactive, and torn. We have no idea what to do. On the other hand, not everyone is paralyzed. We watch in awe as some seem to turn those very obstacles which stymied us into launching pads for themselves. How do they do that? What's the secret? Even more perplexing, earlier generations faced worse problems with fewer safety nets and fewer tools. They dealt with the same obstacles we have today, plus the ones they worked so hard to eliminate for their children and others, and yet we are still stuck. What do these figures have that we lack? What are we missing? It's simple, a method and a framework for understanding, appreciating, and acting upon the obstacles life throws at us. So we need to make a plan. We need to allow time for grievance. We need to get back together ourselves, put us back together after we've fallen completely into a desolate state. And we need to rebuild our lives because we have to keep going. There is no safety net to fall apart anymore because there is too many things in the way that are going to keep us locked in that box. After I fell into a deep depression and I was very suicidal, I knew that I couldn't kill myself because I had too many things to do in this lifetime. I was here for a purpose. I was here for a reason. And so are you. You need to find that reason deep within you, and you need to go and pursue that reason. And you know it's not going to be easy, because what those things are never easy. It's never easy to pursue what you are meant to be here for, or everyone would already be doing it. It's a struggle, but we can do it because it's worth it. It brings us meaning and passion and that confidence that we are doing what we are meant to be doing. And I know a lot of people are suffering from addiction because this world is an overwhelming place. And I encourage you to please seek help. Know that your life does not have to be one cycle over another of just trying to find your next high. You are worth more than the drugs that you consume. You can overcome and join this world where you can become a productive member, sharing your story and doing what you are destined to be doing. And I just want you to know that I love you. I love you all. Regardless if you've thrown terrible, nasty, horrible words at me and degraded my character, because you are in pain, and I'm sorry for your pain. So the cards this week, the overall theme is the Five of Swords reversed, the Fool, and the Five of Pentacles. So we have a lot of fives this week, it seems. It's interesting. So there will be a lot of arguments. But the Five of Swords reversed means that we walk away from things that no longer are serving us. We decide that we're no longer going to accept behaviors and things in our life that do not feed us, that do not make us grow, but only take away and leave us in lack. And this could be an argument that you have with someone. We have the Fool, which is all about new beginnings and the beginning of a cycle. So you might be starting off a cycle in an argument, and this might be you breaking out of your shell of not reacting to things and actually going and starting to make headway for yourself, which is a wonderful thing. But please watch out for the pitfalls, because if you've never done it before, there are things that you may not see in your path, and you may fall and feel like you failed and frustrated, and then feel as if you cannot start again. It's okay. Even though you may have this feeling of lack, there's always a door, there's always a shoulder, there's always somewhere to go that will help you. All you have to do is look. All you have to do is educate yourself and search. All right, so for the beginning of the week, we have the Chariot reversed, we have the Three of Rods, and we have the Ace of Wands. So we are proceeding towards something, but we are wanting to pursue it in a balanced way. And the Chariot is all about victory, and it's all about balance, because it's balancing the light and the dark within us. We have the two chariots, the two sphinxes as horses pulling this chariot, and if they don't act in sync, if they don't go forward at the same pace, the same speed, they're going to throw one off kilter, and it's not going to be able to move forward. So we want to be able to proceed cautiously. We want to proceed with foresight and intelligence, and knowing what we're doing before we do it, and not just acting, which we can with the Fool card. We also have the Three of Rods upright, so that means that things are starting to come in for us. We are starting to see things come in on the horizon. We are building our safety net. We are building our homestead, and we are starting to be productive and be having a productive factor, a producing method. We have tangible things in our hands that we can start making something out of. And we have the Ace of Wands reversed. So I think that we are missing a piece in the beginning of the week, and so we can't go forward without that missing piece, because the 3 and the 4 become the 3 and the 1 become the 4 of Wands, which is all about, a home, a safe, stable structure. But I don't believe that we have that last piece yet, so hence we cannot go forward with our, with our stable foundation without pursuing that 4th piece. For the middle of the week, we have the Empress reversed, and this is about births and creation, and it's talking about an infertility or an over-emotional time. It could be affecting, pregnancy or your ability to create and manifest. There could be a lot of chaos, and it could be having to do with this Page of Pentacles, or this want, or these messages trying to come in and create something, trying to be a business person, and you're feeling like you don't have the upper hand. You feel defeated because you feel overly emotional, or you get messages that make you feel defeated in a sense from perhaps an older boss, or a woman or man. The Empress energy it could be anybody, but it's all about somebody who is a creator, who seems to have kind of lost, their understanding or their ability to put things in motion. And it kind of goes back to the beginning of this week. The end of the week, we have the 5 of Cups upright, we have the 5 of Swords upright, and we have the Queen of Swords reversed. So I believe we are going to be having a confrontation with somebody, and they are not going to be very nice. It's going to be a very, very negative situation. But we can turn it around with our thoughts. We can always find a different path. We can always see the light through the cracks. We still have 2 cups. And because the 5 of Swords is upright, I believe that there will be some kind of conclusion. I believe that there will be a commencement of some kind of fight. And it's very important that you keep that in mind, that at least, yes, we've gone through this, but at least now it's progressing, because after the 5 of Swords we have the 6 of Swords. So it will get better, and you have to make sure that you find yourself a space that you can take comfort in and feel safe. This is a week to seek out people that care about you. So for the love oracle cards, we have the Beauty Queen, we have the past love, and we have work. So perhaps it's somebody that we have known from a past job, or something about vanity, spa, health, makeup, even somebody who is held in high esteem, coming back, and you may be offered a job, or they may offer you some guidance or some assistance in what you are trying to do. For the oracle cards, we have the energy oracle. We have the woman holding a coin. So I have a feeling that it is something to definitely with business. As the overall energy, we have the thinking man, the woman holding a heart, and the angel of strength. So I honestly believe this is something to do with perhaps a relationship or finding the strength and the way forward in a situation that you are strong in. And since we do have two people here, we have the woman with her heart and we have the thinking man. We have a very logical person who is good with their words, who has a lot of strategic planning. And then we have the woman who is empathetic almost to a fault, who has her heart right there. And I think these two are going to come together with this strength card and really bring forth something that could actually manifest a lot of money, manifest something very stable, very tangible. So you may have this argument in the week, but I think that there's some good that will come out of it because we have this card from the Gaia Oracle deck, which is the message, a positive news and positive outcome. So you will be hearing of some news, and you may feel like you have lost something, but there's always a silver lining. There's always something that comes out of it. Even with this whole election, there's something positive that will come out of it. And I believe it is that the people have now become incited. They are ready to act. They are ready to stand up for their rights. And that is a very amazing and powerful thing that has happened because people are so disgusted by the attitudes that want to stifle people and who they are in the individual level and make them stick them back into the stereotypes that we are comfortable with. I think people are no longer accepting that, and they are going to stand up and say, no, I will not be who you tell me to be anymore. I'm going to be myself because it is a much healthier thing to be myself than something I'm supposed to be. Because then I can find my true people and be truly happy inside. So for our love forecast, we have the Fool, which is interesting. We have the Fool twice here. So it looks like there's some new energy beginning. I think we had the Fool last week as well. There's a new beginning, and it's upright. So be sure to watch where you're going. Don't take too many risks because you think that everything is now starting fresh again. But remember to have your guidelines, to have your understandings, but don't define yourself by them. Allow yourself to take a little bit of a risk because without a little risk, we don't have reward. But don't take too big of a risk because then you could fall. So we have the Devil reversed. So we are stepping out of our fear and we're actually able to pursue something that our heart desires. And it seems as if it may have to do with finances, but it could have to do with somebody who is a possible earth sign, but maybe it's somebody who we've only considered as a friend. Maybe it's somebody who we've only considered as somebody who is maybe not even interested in us, but we just don't know because we've never asked, we've never paid any attention, and sometimes somebody that we consider or could be actually really good for us, we don't even pay mind to because we are so busy learning all those lessons that we need to with the wrong people, the people that are really in your face that say, hey, date me. Those are probably not the right people. They're there to teach you something about the right person that you need, because we tend to be very codependent in relationships, and we always look for somebody who's going to give us exactly what we need, exactly what we want at that moment. But the thing about relationships is that it's not about what we need at that moment. It's about what we need in the bigger picture. It's about what we need overall. Somebody that's going to satisfy us in a way in our life, in the path that we want to go on, and not just in this small tangent. And that's why it's important to have these people as friends, these people that are going to teach us these lessons, and understand that we can care about them in a way that is somewhat romantic in nature, but understand that they are not the ones that we need to be with in the long term. And we have the Ten of Wands upright, which is kind of all about the end. It's the end of the road. We've done all the actions, we've beaten down our backs, we've thought about all these things that we've needed to do, that we've needed in our life, that we, pursue, and we've come to the end of this kind of cycle, and we're breaking free of the fear that is holding us back, that it doesn't allow us to move forward, that makes us think that every time what we do is a failure and not a lesson, and not learning from that lesson. And a lot of these Five of Swords energies is all about learning lessons and having these conflicts with other people that directly mirror things to us, that show us parts of ourselves that we refuse to see, or that we have been unable to even look at because we are afraid to look at parts of ourselves that are not so nice. Things that make us cringe inside that we could possibly be that kind of person. But we know that we are not those people. They are just showing us parts of ourselves that reflect that energy, and that we can change that. And we can, we can not be that person. We don't have to go all the way. We can hold ourselves back from manifesting that part of ourselves that we deem is not good. Or we can use that energy in a productive manner instead. We can use our anger for righteousness. We can pursue protests and, activism instead of going off the rails. So it's important to understand what people are reflecting to us and what we need to learn from that. So with that, I'm going to leave you with just one last I love you, and that you matter, because we all matter, otherwise we wouldn't be here. And it's hard to see that now, because there's so many things clouding our judgments, and so many things that we don't know, that we've been lied to about. But try to use your inner voice and your inner knowing, your third eye, to see through what is true and what isn't. To see what is just being manipulated and what we can truly believe. And I hope that this inspires you to take charge and lead a revolution in your own life.